am Jaden Phillip, and I am continuing the next 4 chapters of Geronimo Stilton, Lost Treasure of the Emerald Eye. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and smash that like button and put in the comments, when will there be more videos of Jaden Phillip reading more Geronimo Stilton books? Anything missing? 15 pounds of extra sharp cheddar, 80 boxes of mac and cheese, 10 tubes of Swiss, 9 bags of nacho cheese chips, unsalted. The next morning, I stood on the deck of the Lucky Lady reading out a list of our supplies. What a mess! Trap, fill up the water tank, I instructed my cousin, but instead of filling the water tank, he poured water into the fuel tank. What are you doing? I squeaked. I think you better lay off the extra sharp. It seems to be affecting your brain. I turned to my sister. Tia, run. Tia, run and get me that compass. I ordered down at boats, masts, and beyond. Asked to see the owner, Squeaky LaRue, also known as the Squeak. He's a friend of mine, so he should give you a gift discount. You can't miss him. He's a tall, thin, gray mouse with the tail so furry you could use it to dust every room in your mouse home. Just then, I noticed Trap talking to the young ship rat on the boat next to ours. That's right, my young rat friend. He whispered. Don't tell anyone. We're looking for something, but I can't tell you what. It begins with T and ends with E. That's right, it's on an island. Quick as a cat, at a mouse convention, I leaped and yanked Trap by the tail. Are you going to blurt out the whole story about the treasure? I hissed. Trap gave me an innocent smile. Did I mention a treasure? There are lots of words that begin with T and end with E, like telephone. For example, or how about tic-tac-toe? I banged my head against the side of the ship. By 6 o'clock that night, we had finished loading. I rushed to the Wax Authority, the best store in town for sporting goods. Can you help me, please? I said to Scratch, the mouse who owns the place. I want to get everything I would need for a long sea voyage, and I'm in a big rush. So if you could hurry, well, tickle me with cat feather. If it isn't Geronimo Stilton, newspaper mouse, Scratch cried. What an honor. He began to drag out everything in the entire store. My head was spinning. There were 10 pairs of waterproof underwear, a floppy cheddar-colored straw hat that if you stayed out in the sun, you stayed out in the sun too long, and a life raft shaped as like a cheese on a 5-foot-long cracker. Also, I need a suitcase, I said to Scratch. Or better yet, a big trunk. I think you've got the thing for a sharp mouse like you, Mr. Stilton, he remarked, his eyes gleaming. Follow me. He led me to the back of the store, where he unlocked the door to a small room. Then, like the famous magician, Harry Latina, he lifted a silk cloth with flourish. There stood a trunk, as tall as a circus mouse on stilts. It was covered in bright yellow leather and glowed in the dark. It was as wide as the giant from Brat and the Beanstalk, as long as the line for cheese Danish on the bakery in Sunday morning. Isn't it a beauty? asked Scratch. I nodded and carefully lifted the lid. Holy cheese! You could fit a sumo mouse inside. I spotted several coat hangers made of cheesecloth and a whole shelf of hats. There was a shiny cat tooth comb and a wire brush for tough whiskers. The trunk also had a space for office supplies, paper, pens, paperweight, and a tiny secret compartment. You name it. I'll take it, I squeaked. I knew you would like it, Mr. Stilton. This is the real deal, he beamed, running his paws over the trunk. It's just the thing for an adventurous, seagoing mouse such as yourself. Wish you could take me along. Geronimo Stilton, fearless sailor of the high seas, I thought. Had a nice ring to it. I might enjoy this trip after all. First dawn at sea. Ah, the cool breeze blowing off the sea. Ah, the salty smell of seaweed. I was starting to get into the sailing thing. It was so relaxing, sort of like sitting in Great Grandma Tanglefoot's rocking chair, holding the tiller of Lucky Lady in my paws. I stared out over the ocean waves. It was dawn, and the sun was coming up, pale as a slice of Swiss cheese. We had just left the harbor, but I felt as if I'd been sailing all my life. I was wearing a bright yellow windbreaker jacket with my matching yellow pants and new yellow hat. Can you guess what my favorite color is? Yup, there's nothing like a little yellow to cheer up a mouse. It's the most popular color on our island. We have yellow cows, yellow schools, and yellow airplanes. In fact, one year, Santa Claus wore a yellow suit instead of a red one. My nephew Ben wasn't too crazy about that, though. I smiled. I missed Ben so much. Funny how such a small mouse could give you such a big heart attack. My daydreams were interrupted by Trap. He appeared on his desk, munching on a big bag of nacho cheese chips. Hey there, cousin, he squeaked with his mouth full. Want some? Be careful, I warned. Don't get any grease on deck. You're such a worry rat, he muttered, laying his greasy paws right on the deck. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. Just bring me the chariot, I sighed. I need to see if we're on the course for Treasure Island. Hey, no problemo, little cousin, squeaked Trap, waving a little boyo at me. He did a little dance. Look out, I shrieked. You almost stepped on my glasses. I broke out into a cold sweat. Without my glasses, I couldn't tell a difference between a slice of mozzarella and a hunk of cheddar. Why, oh why did we have to bring him along? Fresh clams, anyone? It was the evening, and the red sun sat on the ocean like a cherry on top of a piece of cheesecake. Up in the sky, white fluffy clouds of whipped cream floated around. What a delicious view, I sighed. But just as I While I was beginning to enjoy it, I heard a mouse squeaking. Yow! That rotten stove is trying to kill me. It was my cousin's voice. Tia and I rushed to help him. What happened? What is it? We squeaked together. Trap was leaping around on one paw. This rotten stove keeps jumping up and down like a teenage mouse at a Wild Whiskers concert. I shrieked, my cousin massaging his toe. He burned my paw with clam sauce. He slumped onto the padded sofa to check out his toe. Maybe you two can set the table, at least, Trap continued, while you've been up on deck continuing the fresh air. I've been busting my tail down here. He closed his eyes and yawned. Must I do everything? I gave the clam sauce a good sniff as Thea mixed it in the pasta. Now I know why in medieval times they poured boiling oil on their enemies from the castle walls, whined my cousin. He cradled up his burnt paw protectively. Why, Trap! I didn't know you were so cultured, I remarked, filling my plate. My cousin smirked. What culture? I got that from a cartoon on TV, he scoffed. You can find everything on TV, you know. Yes, of course you can, I answered, absent-mindedly. I was sniffing out the sauce again. Are you sure these clams are fresh? What do you mean fresh? Of course they're fresh, Trap insisted. Cross my heart. It's just that they smell sort of like a skunk at a cheap perfume counter, I offered. My cousin jumped off the sofa. Are you calling me a liar? He shouted. I told you they were fresh as fresh could be. I don't know if you believe me, fine, I guess. You'll just enjoy hurting my feelings. Thea grabbed a slice of bread and headed from the stairs. It's time to stand watch, she chirped, racing away. I hesitated for a moment, then began eating very slowly. I don't think I'll have any clams after all. I lost my appetite, said Trap, nibbling some bread and cheese. It was 2 o'clock that morning. I woke up with a horrible stomachache. I dashed to the bathroom, my glasses dangling off my snout. Seconds later, I tripped over the bath mat, banged my snout on the medicine cabinet, and plopped onto the toilet. Suddenly, I had a horrible thought. Could it be that the clams made me sick? Just then, the bathroom door opened wide. Looking half asleep, Trap peered into the bathroom. Then he covered his nose with both paws. What are you up to? Building some kind of stink bomb? He coughed. Thea woke up by all the noise. Joined us. She sized up the situation in an instant. Spit out the truth, Trap demanded. My sister. Where did you really buy those clams? My cousin was silent. He stared at the carpet. Well, I bought them in the fish department at the frozen food counter, he confessed with a guilty look. Frozen, I squeaked. But you told me they were fresh clams. Trap stood up straight. Well, yes, of course they were fresh at one time. The frozen clam was the special offer. The mouse who sold them to me last month told me that if you didn't eat it on the same day or they would spoil. But of course, I did take them seriously. You know all these sales rights. They always try to exaggerate. Squeak trap. Grr! Sales rice? My pa, I cried. Do you realize you could have killed me with that poison? You should get a job as chief at a cafeteria for cats. I tried to grab him, but I ended up stumbling over a roll of toilet paper instead. Why, oh why had we brought him along? A mystery on board. At dawn, on the 16th day of sailing, we were almost halfway to Treasure Island. After my watch, I went down to the gallery where we had stored all of our food. That's when I discovered the breadcrumbs on the floor. Strange. Very strange, I thought. The trail of crumbs led to a barrel full of apples. I lifted the barrel's lid. Inside, I found 4 chewed-up apple cores. On board, I decided not to say anything to the others. Not yet, anyway. If I was wrong, they would make fun of me for the rest of the trip. That night, when everyone was asleep, I sprinkled some baby powder in front of the kitchen door. Then I tied a piece of thread to the doorknob. Early the next morning, I went down to check. Just as you thought, the thread had been broken. Yup, it sure looked like someone had been sticking their paws in the old cheese bit jar. Then I noticed the paw prints in the powder. How odd! They were very, very small. Could they have belonged to a dwarf mouse? I decided I had to do something before the little thief ate us right out of the houseboat and home. That night I slept with my lucky baseball bat by my side. It was a present from Slugrat Jones, also known as Sluggy, an old rat friend of mine who plays professional baseball. If that stowaway came after me, I'd be ready for him. It was 1 o'clock in the morning when I finally heard the creaking sounds coming from the kitchen. I put on my glasses. Then I grabbed a flashlight with my right paw and the bat with my left. When I got downstairs, the sneaky thief was opening the fridge. I tiptoed toward him and switched the light. Aha! I cried, ready to strike. Then my cousin dropped open. It was my nephew Benjamin, happily munching on cheesy chew. Hello, Uncle, he squeaked, flinging his paws around my neck. He kissed me on the tip of my stirrup. Aren't you glad to see me? But why? But how? But when? I mean, what are you doing here? I stammered. I promised to make myself useful, he cried. I'll sweep the desk, fold your clothes, and stack your hats. Did you know that I'm a champion stacker? I got an A+ in stacking at Little Tails Academy when I was in kindergarten. And I'll be a secretary too. So when you're back, I can write you a wonderful book. There was only one thing to do. I gave him a giant mouse hug. I love you, Benjamin, I said, and I'm very glad you're here. Why? How? What? When? Thank you for listening to me read the next 4 chapters of Lost Treasure of the Emerald Eye. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe,